This is KATU News at 11 on your side.
We begin tonight with a live look in downtown Portland, where protesters are gathering right now. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office tweeted tonight, criminal activity will not be tolerated. They say they've already made dozens of arrests and seen people starting fires. Earlier, the police chief called for a peaceful night after a day of dueling rallies in the city. Portland police say those rallies stayed mostly peaceful besides this assault caught on camera where a man kicked this person in the head. Police also cited someone after finding paintball guns, baseball bats, and shields in a car. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Catherine Kissel. Let's get right to KATU's Allison Mechanic, who's live in downtown Portland tonight where those crowds are gathering. Allison?
Catherine, this crowd started to gather here in downtown Portland, right in front of the Justice Center, just around 6 o'clock this evening, but throughout the night, the numbers have steadily grown. If you take a look over here, you can see the people that are scattered throughout the park. They're in the park directly across from the Justice Center and also standing on the steps and on the street and on the sidewalk surrounding it. We are also hearing from several different speakers who have been talking to the crowd throughout the night. We did see several tense moments earlier today between police and this group here. Police came out and we did see several people arrested. We did see them charge the group. We also saw things thrown at police. And then just again a short time ago, police came back out towards just a few blocks from down here on Jefferson and 3rd Avenue, and they had another encounter with protesters, I should say. We did not see anybody taken into custody then, but since then, which was about 20 minutes ago, we have not seen police. This has not been declared a riot. It has not been declared an unlawful assembly. We just heard warnings from police telling people to stay out of the street, but that's really the extent of the warnings that we've heard. Again, if you take a look here, you can see just how many people are out here. I'd say there's easily a couple hundred people, and there is no sign of people leaving anytime soon. Live in downtown Portland, I'm Allison Mechanic, KATU News.
Police says today's events were free of serious violence. Hundreds of people, including the Proud Boys, gathered at Delta Park, while counter-protesters gathered at Peninsula and Irving Parks. However, Portland police and the sheriff's office are investigating this assault that happened at Delta Park against a person who was documenting the event. KATU News had obtained this video of the assault. The person who was kicked in the head was at the park. Portland police say if you were at Delta Park or you know anything about the attacker, you're asked to give them a call. KATU News spoke to some of the Proud Boys who say their message is not meant to be divisive or violent, even as loud profanities were directed at the group that they're vocally against.
Is that something violent? Did I say anything?
You comment about this division.
Well, I can't. It's kind of tough to answer your question because you're saying that there's this big division, but he's back there saying Tifa, so that's his freedom of speech.
Hundreds of people gathered at different parks in Portland today as counter-protests to the Proud Boys rally. That included demonstrators at Peninsula and Irving Parks. They peacefully listened to speakers throughout the day. A few people told KATU News that was the goal. Protesters say they don't want to create a perception that Portland is a violent city.
Peace and no violence. As I've been hearing all over from other colleagues all over the country, they called me and they said, man, it's so rough in Portland, it's so violent in Portland.
This was part of a Black Lives Matter group. They say that they have no intention of violence or clashing with the other groups. Let's take another live look at the protests in downtown Portland tonight. Several arrests have already been made. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office says cans and rocks and several other things are being thrown at authorities. Again, Portland police have teamed up with OSP, the Sheriff's Office, and the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Although PPB says that today's dueling rallies remained mostly calm, authorities say that they are still out in force patrolling the streets. In the meantime, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler commended police and other agencies today, saying, quote, "Thank you to our police officers and law enforcement partners for ensuring the demonstrations have remained largely peaceful throughout the day. It's testimony to the collaborative planning and preparation Portland police did with our local, state, and federal partners." A series of weapons were confiscated today. KATU's Allison Mechanic gives us a look at some of the arrests and citations that were issued earlier.
Firearms, paintball guns, baseball bats, and shields. These are just some of the weapons confiscated during the many demonstrations in Portland earlier today. According to Portland police, these weapons were found during a traffic stop near Delta Park where a license plate was obscured. Portland police say one person was issued a citation, but did not say which group they were associated with. Police also reported finding this bucket of rocks in North Portland. Condoms filled with an unknown liquid were also found. Near the intersection of Rosa Park and Missouri, this trooper vehicle was smashed. Police say during a traffic stop, someone threw a rock at it. In both cases, no one was arrested or cited. Portland Police Chief Chuck Lavelle issued a statement regarding today's demonstrations. It reads in part, "I'm pleased to say that through the unified efforts of Portland State Police, Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, and the Portland Police, events earlier today were free from serious violence. Thanks to those who demonstrated peacefully. May that continue throughout the evening." KATU reached out to Portland Police for a complete list of arrests and citations issued today. A spokesperson said the three agencies are working together to release a joint statement with that information. In downtown Portland, Allison Mechanic, KATU News.
And stay with us as we continue to cover the unrest in Portland. We'll check back in with our crew in just about 10 minutes. You can also check our website at KATU.com for the latest information. You can also check our social media pages as well. The unrest continues across the country. Some business owners in Seattle say that they are ready for the violent protests to stop. We want to take a live look now from Seattle after 2 straight nights of protests and 2 straight nights of violence on Capitol Hill. Frustrated neighbors and business owners want to know if city leaders have a plan.
It'd be nice to have some leadership.
When our sister station in Seattle asked police about reassuring the public, a spokesperson responded by saying the chief was instrumental in crafting 2 blog posts outlining what happened during Wednesday night's violence. But those posts went unnoticed by many in the city.
Were you aware of this blotter?
I'm not aware of that, no. Any statement would be great. It definitely put a lot of the restaurant owners and just business owners and staff at ease.
Over the past couple of days, Seattle police say that more than 20 people have been arrested and several officers have been hurt during these protests.
Our environmental rights would be greatly hurt. LGBTQ rights would be hurt. The Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, and all efforts to stop global warming would be hurt.
There are concerns from Democrats tonight about the president's Supreme Court nominee. President Trump nominated Judge Amy Coney Barrett officially today. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says Barrett threatens health care, women's rights, labor rights, LGBTQ voting rights, and more. The nomination comes just a week after Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. ABC's Faith Abubey is in Washington with more on the federal judge.
She is a woman of unparalleled achievement, towering intellect, sterling credentials, and unyielding loyalty to the Constitution.
If confirmed, she would be the youngest justice appointed in nearly 30 years. Despite a short 3 years on the federal bench, Barrett is already well known in conservative circles as a devout Catholic, anti-abortion, and pro-Second Amendment.
I see no conflict between having a sincerely held faith and duties as a judge. I would never impose my own personal convictions upon the law.
Her confirmation would tilt to the court's ideological balance, giving conservatives a clear majority on the Supreme Court. Democrats argue that naming a nominee this close to the election, a little more than a month to go, is rushing the process. They plan to fight the confirmation, while Republicans hope to have their nominee on the bench in a few weeks. The latest ABC News Washington Post poll shows, despite GOP wishes, 57% of Americans would prefer if the next justice of the U.S. Supreme Court is picked by the winner of the presidential election.
Republicans appear to have the votes needed to confirm Barrett. Now, if quickly confirmed, one of the earliest cases would be to challenge Obamacare. That is scheduled for the court November 10th. We want to show you the scene after a police chase in Beaverton just a couple of hours ago. According to police, officers responded to a suspicious vehicle call at a Comfort Inn. When they tried talking to the suspect, the person took off, hitting a police cruiser in the process. They ended up crashing near Highway 26 in Murray. The car rolled over, but we're told no one was hurt. 2 people were inside the car at the time, and they were arrested. Here's another look at downtown Portland tonight, where crowds are gathering. This after dueling rallies remained mostly calm earlier tonight. Our reporter on the scene says that no unlawful assembly has been declared and no riot has been declared. Several hundred people are downtown outside the Justice Center right now. We're going to go check back live in with our reporter in just a bit. Plus an exclusive interview with the president, how he says that he's reaching out to black voters. And marijuana has been legal in California for 2 years now. You might be surprised how it's working out financially.
And we have warmer and windier weather on the way this week. Does that mean more wildfires? Does it mean more wildfire smoke where you live? We'll take a look at that in your forecast coming up.